Before a life is done, dial 911. After that incident, I connected with an organization called A Woman's Place. Now in Pennsylvania, it's called A Woman's Space. A Woman's Space they provide services for all women that are in crisis. They provided me with food vouchers so I could continue to feed myself and my children until I got off crutches and returned back to work. They also offer a 24-hour hotline as well. The executive director of A Woman's Place, she wrote in her article, it's called In Just One Day. In just one day, 2 women miscarried as a result of domestic violence. In just one day, 3 women were murdered by their intimate partners. 7 children were killed in domestic violent homicides, and 7 babies were born to mothers living in shelters. Once again, I say to you, before a life is done, dial 911. Second cause is called mental illness. I chose to speak about mental illness because there is a link between mental illness and violence. According to the New England Journal of Medicine, an article that was written by a Dr. Richard Friedman back in 2006. Dr. Friedman conducted a study called the ECA, Epidemiologic Catchment Areas. The study showed parents with serious mental illness such as schizophrenia, major depression, or bipolar disorder were 2 to 3 times likely to be assaulted. So in other words, people with a mental illness were 16% more assaulted than people without a mental illness. Now he did this study because a friend of his was a psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist was interviewing his patient, and the patient was requesting to go home from the mental hospital. Well, the psychiatrist informed the patient, no, I don't think you're ready to go home. Well, the patient proceeded to jump over the desk and beat the psychiatrist to death. Domestic violence not only affects the victims, it also affects the victims' extended families as well as the children. According to a journal called The Mental Health of Children Who Witnessed Domestic Violence, back in 2009, they wrote, there is evidence that children that witness domestic violence or traumatic events can have adverse consequences causing childhood disorders. Me personally, I believe that statement to be true. Because as a result of the domestic violence that was in my home, within my marriage, my oldest daughter, who is now 17, has a mental illness. She now takes medication to manage her anger. She also attends a behavioral school. She had to attend a behavioral school because she had so much anger against boys, or should you say males. Her motto used to be, I'll get you before you get me. In my conclusion, alcoholism and mental illness can cause domestic violence, but we as a nation can assist the victims and their children by calling 911 to give the family some help. Because someone had the courage to take a stand and dial 911 for me and my children, we are here today. We are no longer victims. We are now victors.
That's right.
We are now victoriously moving on with our lives, pursuing all our dreams and our goals, as well as meeting good people such as yourselves. Always remember, before a life is done, dial what?
911.
Thank you very much.